Alrighty guys, as you came into the Dragon Ball Legends TOP guide video, this is going to be in regards to Season 88. I know we're a little bit late on this, we still need to do the walkthrough video as well, that will be coming out tomorrow, but in the meantime, last season we tried out, or we didn't try out, we were using Sun Family for the second time around, right? Instead of Goten, we were using the Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku, and we ended off at rank 5,881, which is actually, it's pretty damn good. I'm not gonna lie, the team is really easy to run. If you guys want to continue using Sun Family, that is definitely up to you. I just wanted to go ahead and showcase the team, and I would say it might be easier than Regeneration. It probably is easier than Regeneration. Before we move on into the video, there will always be timestamps in the description down below, and I would love to give a huge shout out to doomgeta, Aflac, Alex, everyone in the Discord that we have that's basically making these videos possible, because they're actually contributing to so much in terms of knowledge, in terms of teams, in terms of pathing, all of that good stuff. So if you want to support them, I will link the Discords in the description down below. One of them is going to be the personal managed Discord, and then the other one's going to be the official Dragon Ball Legends Discord, where they also have the helper role there for TOP. So the first thing I'm going to briefly tell you guys, because I'm not going to go over this every single season, is just the fact that get your friendship rank up. Friendship rank is super important in the game mode of TOP. Most of my units are at friendship rank 10, right? Especially for my designated regeneration team, which we are going to be using this season. Spoilers, right? And you guys are probably going to be happy about that though. But yeah, friendship rank 10, especially on your most important units, especially on your units that are the most fragile, right? You do want to get those up. There's the Let's Fight event that's available to you. There's the story mode mission, and I believe it's book 6 chapter 1 part 8. That one gets to see Yellow Super Saiyan 3 Goku. There's the resources out there for you guys to get up to friendship rank 10, and you are going to see an increase into all of your stats, right? From your regular stats to your TOP stats, that's all increased through friendship rank. Alright, so the first thing we are going to be talking about is our pathing. I'm going to pull it up on screen right here on the left and the right hand side. So as you guys do know, according to the graphic that I'll have in the middle right here, the white pathing is just basically the mundane fights. Not necessarily mundane as in the fights are all going to be easy, but mundane in terms of the fact that you're not going to get a huge massive score streak bonus from this portion of the board right here, right? Once you get into the second half, you see it going from orange to purple to red. That's where the big bonuses start to really take effect, where you're going to go ahead and bring in your high tier characters so you can reap the most benefits from having those high tier characters, right? And we do have the difficult fights highlighted right here as well. I don't think this path is going to be that difficult. There are some notable fights that we will be mentioning here. Another thing that we are going to be pulling up right here is the color wheel. So these are the colors, or the amount of units in the specific color that you're going to be seeing this season. Just pay attention to the number at the bottom right here. So as for reds, there's 23 of them. For yellows, there's 38, purples 37, and greens 23. So definitely more so on the yellow and purple side of things right here. So do with that information what you will. Especially, I think this is very valuable when you're building a team and say you don't have a specific unit, and then you have to bring in a replacement from the graphic, right? So this is very helpful. The most important fights are going to be the highlighted fights in the orange and in the red. So you have the Majin Buu Saga fight, the event exclusive fight, the Rivals fight, and then the Vegito fight at the very end. But pretty much the moral of the story here is that you want a strong red unit and you want a strong yellow unit, most likely. And another thing that kind of goes hand in hand with the pathing right here, plus the color wheel, is the amount of cover changes that you're going to be seeing for the season, right? So in terms of strike cover changes, there's 12 of them. There's a difference between the cover changes and the arts nullification, right? So there's 12 cover changes and then 1 arch nullification for strike, a total of 13. For blast, there's 7 cover changes as well as 8 nullification for 15. So you might look at this and say, okay, well, I should probably use a strike team because there's less strike cover changes, right? Well, you also, again, you want to pay attention to the highlighted fights right here. They can get pretty brutal in terms of the amount of strike cover changes there are. I would actually personally say a blast-based team is better to have this season rather than a strike-based team. For the Vegito fight, there's 3 strike cover changes / nullifications, right? 2 other cover changes, 1 nullification, and then before that, you see 4 strike cover changes just in one fight alone, right? I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be for the Rivals fight. I could be wrong though. But yeah, so you do want to, again, the highlighted fights are definitely the standout ones that should be catching your attention. All right, so now let's talk about some of the difficult fights that you're going to encounter this season right here. I'm not going to go too in depth. We'll go a little bit more in depth in the actual walkthrough video right here. For this fight, Android 21 has a stun at the end of turn 2. Typically, she's the first unit I go for right there. And then the Fat Buu is going to be debuffing the entire bottom row, so I always stay away from that bottom row whenever I come across the Fat Buu. And then we do have this Buu Saga fight right here. This one's pretty annoying. So obviously, one of the biggest threats here is going to be this tag duo, just because they do have the well, they do the Transcendent Kamehameha. You don't necessarily have to worry about the tag so much because it's like at turn 3 they end up tag switching out, and then in turn 4 they end up hitting with the Transcendent Kamehameha. So just don't let that happen simply. This guy, he has a universal cover change, plus he eats a blast arts. This guy has a buff against regeneration, so obviously he's like one of our higher priority units, especially this season since we will be running regeneration. Next we have this God Key fight. We're pretty familiar with this one, right? So it's like Beerus and Goku are both turn 1 priority. Just depending on your attack order, you're going to either attack Goku first or the Beerus first, right? Beerus stuns you at the start of turn 2, and then Goku super attacks you at the start of turn 2. So I mean, if it comes down to it, I'd rather eat the stun than the super. So, you know, if you can only take out one of them, then go for the Kaioken. We have Sagas From the Movies. I don't think this one's too bad, but obviously a bunch of yellows right here. Boujack, he supers you at the end of turn 2. He's really slow, so definitely like at the end of turn 2. And then Gohan is always a priority target here because you want to kind of kill him before he transforms. So next we have event exclusive right here. So we basically have a whole method to this. Like 18 is definitely one of your high priorities, and I'm pretty sure the Goku Black is as well because of the debuffs that they end up placing on you. A Super Boo will stun you on turn 3 as well, so another high priority there. I actually think this one's easier than the Demon King Piccolo inclusion one though. Next we have this ToP fight. Tien, easily the top target right here because he will stun you and super you on turn 2. And then we have the event exclusive with the Demon King Piccolo. So this is definitely the harder variation because not only are you dealing with the 18 debuffs, I'm pretty sure the Goku Black debuffs, and then also Demon King Piccolo debuffs, plus the stun. And then possibly one of the worst fights for us this season, or well, just in general, is this Rivals fight. This is a lot worse for strike teams. We're using a blast-based team, so it's going to be a little bit easier for us. But Jiren stuns you turn 1. Nothing you can do about that, right? Then once you kill that Zamasu, the amount of debuffs he applies on you is actually horrific. I usually go for him last, but I've had people in the comment section tell me if you go for him last, he ends up super attacking you. So it's like, it depends on the situation, I suppose. And then obviously tag unit there too. So, and then Saiyan team, this one's very easy. You go against Piccolo. He supers you in turn 3. Just make sure you kill him before then. And then we have the Vegito fight. This one is honestly not as bad. Not as bad as the full-blown fusions. We'll go into this more in depth, like in the actual guide video, but obviously like blast cover change here. So this guy just eats a strike card, right? We're not running a strike based team. We don't have to worry about that. I think we're going to be fine. I think the strike teams are going to struggle against this way more than us blast teams. All right, so first team I am going to be talking about is Regeneration, and then we do have the graphic up here letting you guys know what all the icons are doing. I'm still in the middle of like optimizing this, so you might see some icons that you might not be entirely familiar with. Like I'm adding like the zenkai icons, stuff like that. I'm constantly updating the star recommendations and stuff like that, so they might differ from season to season. I'm still getting basically comfortable with this new format right here, right? But let's talk about your guys' boost units. It is going to be the EXL over here. You guys have to have him Zenkai 7. There's absolutely no shot you guys don't have him at Zenkai 7, 14 stars. But yeah, he has a solar flare at the end of turn 2, so it's a little late. But again, you want your high tier characters preserved for the final fights. And then you have this guy. We've used him quite a while. I have him at Friendship Rank 10 personally. He is going to be a pseudo healer for the team, right? He actually has a pretty decent range as well for that pseudo healing. As for your core units, you have a Super Baby 2. This he will never not be used on Regeneration, I fear. Not even I feel like he's great. I don't want anyone to replace him, low-key, because he just does his job so phenomenally well. The only thing that you can complain about this guy is his damage output. It's quite literally it, but he's a support type. He's not there to do the big numbers. But both of these teams are good right here. You could use either or. I'm basically using this variation because I do want to take advantage of having Garlic Jr. I want to test him out on the field. This is what I'm going to use right here. Over here on the right hand side, you do see the Mod Junior in place of the free-to-play 21. Obviously for the free-to-play players, that this is going to be more optimal for you, right, is to have the free-to-play 21. And then you have the boot tanks over here. That guy gets a guaranteed super attack. This dude is also another staple, and we are going to be using the Legends Limited Piccolo because I want to use the full power of Regeneration. You can replace him. Obviously, there's so many replacements in the backup section right here. Like, I immediately off the bat, I see Ultra Kid Buu. I see the Rage Shenron. That guy's actually, he's really solid. I like him a lot. He probably needs the double heals and stuff like that. But another great option there is the yellow Cell, the free-to-play perfect Cell. He's in there as well. I've even seen some of you guys throw on the Zenkai perfect Cell. He was strike-based. And you guys even said that he's good. You also have the Z tier metal cooler in there if you want to really boost up your points, or if you just want to swap out one of your boost units in general, right? And so next we're going to talk about the Taunthan team, the Sun family team. This is the team we're using for the past couple seasons. I just want to bring up some notable units right here, starting off with your boost unit. So you have this kid Gohan. This dude's pretty much, his role is just to survive, right? He has damage cut. You want to bring him out once you get that high score streak bonus. He's going to be able to get the job done in terms of securing you that 1000 CC, right? And then you have this guy over here. He's a free-to-play unit, so that's actually, I feel like that's wonderful for you guys. He is strike-based, so that's perfect, especially, like, I mean, his stats are actually pretty even, but his kit does definitely favor strike damage, right? Because he's getting that 70% to strike damage inflicted. So this guy's a pretty good option right here. You have multiple options, though, for your boost units, varying between S and Z tier. Remember, you only need a 30% boost. As for your core units, you do have the Taunthan right here. This guy is amazing for obvious reasons. He's going to take all the aggression for one turn. Turn 1, all enemies focus down on him. If you're going up against 4 greens, you're probably not bringing this guy in, right? And then we have the Super Saiyan Goku. This guy, there's actually an error right here. He is not a boost unit. So on the graphic, I have him listed as a boost unit, but he's been demoted to A tier. So he does not count as one of your boost units. And then of course Kid Goku getting a super attack every other fight. Beast Gohan, absolutely amazing. Goten provides good support, and the Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku gets a guaranteed super attack on turn 2, plus pretty high key restore speed. Alright, so next we do have Frieza Force. I feel like this is a great team to run too, just because you have so many like boost replacements. Like there's a lot of teams that got screwed over in terms of boost units this season. This is not one of them. As you can see right here, there's a lot of Z boost replacements, a lot of S boost replacements. The ones that we're going to talk about real quick is this Orlin right here. He is Z tier units. He's pretty solid right here. And then you also have Raspberry. This guy has just good damage in general, right? Plus he has the support. And then for your core units, of course, Naval. This guy is always on the team, right? No matter what, he is a core unit. He's non-replaceable. He is a pseudo healer for the tag, and he's buffing the entire board for you. And then you also have the Revival Frieza. This guy also is a healer for Lineage of Evil or Frieza Force. Plus he has debuffs, and he has the revival mechanic, which is going to make him a great asset for the team. Golden Glazim. We always glaze this guy really heavily. You always want him on a yellow tile because he gets a super on turn 1. Plus he has the ultimate available to him, so might as well turn that that super attack into the ultimate. But not only that, once you do hit or land your ultimate arts, you inflict all of your enemies with an attribute downgrade with all these debuffs right here. So always place him on that yellow tile when possible. Red Frieza, guaranteed stun turn 1. Purple Frieza, guaranteed stun turn 1. This Broly has debuffs available for the enemy team, right? Again, lots of boost replacements and stuff like that. I feel like this is a very safe and solid team. Alright, so next we do have Sagas from the Movies. This is going to be the Blast variation right here. So boost units, you do have this Ring Frieza. Again, he's going to be, he needs to live, right? So he does have that damage cut. Always something that you want in these units right here, especially your high tier units. And then you have the free-to-play Metal Cooler. This is an S tier unit right here. He actually has a buff against Saiyans and Super Saiyans, plus he's getting a special move Gauge. He has the damage cut as well. Plus he has a decent little range of support right here, and he's inflicting all enemies with attribute downgrade minus 10% to health restoration and ki recovery. So that's pretty good, while also buffing your own ki recovery. So typically we have this fat Gotenks right in the middle. He's providing support for everyone, as you can see, indicated by well, we can just take a peek at his range. Just the entire board, right? It's pretty damn good. And then you have this Roshi right here. That's a core unit. He is going to be your max base HP buffer. That's usually the role of the core units, typically, is HP or they're, oh yeah, so it's either they're buffing your max H base P or they're healing, right? Broly already talked about he gets stuns. This Piccolo has great support plus damage. Metal Cooler, or not Metal Cooler, the first form Cooler, he has a guaranteed stun turn 1, and then this Frieza also has a stun turn 1, right? So double stuns right off rip is good. Alright, so for the next team, it's going to be Sagas from the Movies again, but the strike variation instead of the blast variation, right? So boost units, you do have this Thouser, and then he's going to be in Z tier, and then alongside this cooler right here. So those two work perfectly with each other. Once you start bringing them in, you do want them in position right here, because you can see this Thouser is only buffing the block behind him, and it's going to be for a cooler unit, right? So that's going to be massive for this blue cooler right here, who's going to, he actually has a really good kit, if I'm being real honest, especially if you're going up against Saiyans and stuff like that. Like, he's probably going to be doing a ton of damage, and he's getting 50% to his special move gauge after receiving an attack, as long as they're a Saiyan too. Plus he has damage cut. Now in terms of your main roster right here, you have the fat tanks for the board wide support right here. You have Videl on there. I don't have Videl, right? If you're in the same boat, you don't have Videl. There's Trunks. This Trunks is a great option. We just got the Dragon Fist Goku. There's the Green Fury Broly, the newer one, right? You have options right here to go ahead and replace them. You have this metal cooler, or not, I always want to call every cooler metal cooler, but the final form cooler right here is going to be one of your damage dealers. You have a tag unit, very, very strong, and then Beast Gohan. That's your main DPS, to be honest with you, is Beast Gohan. And he's getting pocketed by this yellow Tapion because he buffs the block behind him, and he's going to be increasing the damage inflicted for him. Alright, so next we have GT Blast Base. So this team, low-key, I think if you're running GT, you must be a really big GT fan, right? And I'm hoping you guys have most of the units, because it's kind of slim pickings, especially if you want to do a blast-based GT team. For your backup unit, or for your boost units is what I should say, you have this Z tier, Super 17. This guy's very fragile, 14 stars. You need 14 stars on him. He has no damage cut, unfortunately, but he does heal 10% of the damage received, which is definitely not as good as just straight up having a heal or that damage cut, right? And then as for your S tier, so you can make up that 30% total, you do have this Zenkai Vegeta. You do want a little bit of stars on him, right? I mean, I think it's doable to run him at 7 stars as long as he's Zenkai 7. But I would suggest having it. He does have debuffs available and stuff like that for your blast based damage, so that's pretty good. For your core units, you have Super Baby 2. He's going nowhere, absolutely not. Parasite Trunks, absolutely amazing. I think he's great because he has the buff against Saiyans or Hybrid Saiyans, so he demolishes those teams. Even when he's not going against these teams, I feel like he still performs well. You have this guy who's going to be giving a Zenkai buff to the Trunks even. I actually have never used this guy, but he does have a buff against, or he gets buffs if there's a powerful opponent enemy. Super 17 is pretty good. This guy, he's also pretty good. You do want to set him over to Blast. They automatically set defense units over to Strike if you're going to be running the Blast Face version of this team right here, right? But Zenkai stats, can't go wrong. This guy was already good pre-Zenkai, so I think it's worth having him, especially post-Zenkai. And then the High Fighter 17, he's also very, very common on this team right here. I think he's like one of the staples, like maybe even like teeter-tottering onto core unit right here. He does a lot of stuff. He's really good. All right, so next we have GT, but this is going to be the Strike variation. Dude, I mean, look at your boost options, right? Look at your boost replacement options. That's pretty rough, right? So for your boost units, you have this Sin Shenron, again, 30%, right? You need the 30%. Board wide buffs. We love this guy. We love this guy. This guy is very fragile, Super Baby 2. Do keep in mind he does have damage cut, but only if there's a tag Saiyan enemy remaining, right? So say you're going up against one Saiyan, you kill that Saiyan turn 1, for turns 2, 3, and 4, you are not going to be getting this damage cut. Fun fact, right? That's pretty bad. And then of course you have the Majube down here. This guy's also melee typing. I actually have no experience with this guy. I probably should have got some because he is. Oh, never mind, he doesn't have the regeneration tag. I thought he did, but yeah, you have those 3 boost units. You only have 1 replacement boost unit, and it is the Super 17, who actually is in Z tier, right? The icon should be changed to red, but he is Z tier right here. He's a range type though, so 17 is definitely not recommended on the Strike version of this team. He's just literally there because I wanted at least 1 boost replacement here. Because if not, then there would be none. And then as for teams, tag 4s are absolutely great. We already talked about Hellfighter 17 for the GT Blast. He does a lot of good stuff. He has debuffs. He has support for the team. Pan is a damage dealer, plus has buffs for the team. Nova has damage mitigation. So also pretty good right there. If you want to take out the pan for the Super Baby 2, you have Super Baby 2 at 7 stars. I probably would recommend it. Alright, so next team is going to be event exclusive. I know some of these units you do see the red star indicator, and so most of them don't see it. I typically don't put it on there, but of course I'm like revamping stuff. I'm still in the middle of updating everything. Every unit on here should be 14 stars. They're all free units, bro. Literally every unit, because I know the red icon doesn't necessarily mean 14 stars, but for the free-to-play characters, it 100% does. For boost units, you have the metal cooler up here, you have the raspberry, and you have the naval. You actually have 3 core units on here, so just to ensure the safety of this team, right? Just to ensure you guys are living throughout the entire board. So you have naval. This is a pseudo healer plus buffing the entire board, all the event exclusive allies. You have Pui going to be giving you the max base HP buff for event exclusive, and then you have this 18 who's giving just a tiny heal. I think it's only like 1%, right? Yeah, restores health of allies in range by 1%, activates 2 times, so a total of 2%, and it's going to be in this range right here that you do see highlighted. Super Boo has a stun turn 3. Yeah, so start at turn 3, inflicts a stun right there. This guy is going to be applying debuffs to the enemy team for blast damage received. And then Goku Black's pretty much farming up the special move gauges and stuff like that. He's also debuffing the enemy team, which is pretty good. Ooh, something I should have mentioned in the Sagas team is that Boujack is now added right here. The blue Boujack. He has the little new icon next to him because he's our brand new free-to-play event exclusive unit, and we will talk about him at the end of the video. Alright, so next we got LOE right here. So this is kind of like a, I don't know, this is like a troll team for the enemy, right? This is like as if you were bringing Hercule into PvP, low-key. If the enemy AI had feelings, they would be hurt if you brought this team against them. So starting off, we have the boost units. We have this Frieza. He's typically on the roster for boost units, right? He's Z tier. He has some good stuff in here. Damage cut is mostly what we're looking for. And then the blue metal cooler, this guy's also pretty solid. He has a Saiyan, Super Saiyan, damage cut, all that good stuff, plus special move gauge, charge rate, and debuffs over here going on as well. In terms of the main roster, for the core units, you have Chilled buffing the max HP of Lineage of Evil. You have the Revival Frieza acting as a healer, plus having the revival mechanic. And then you have 3 stuns here, dude. 3 stuns. This guy's stunning turn 1, this guy's stunning turn 1, and this guy's stunning turn 1. The worst thing that could happen is if all 3 of them stun the same unit, which is possible, by the way. So, I mean, depends on how bad your luck is, right? But still, that's basically the point of like a Hercule team, right? It's depending on how good your luck is, how often you're proccing the paralysis. This is going to be how good your luck is if you're going to be able to get 3 different targets with the stuns. And then of course the Golden Glizzy, guaranteed super attack turn 1, gets a super ultimate on turn 4 as long as there's an X amount of enemies remaining. You always want him on a yellow tile. Always keep him on a yellow tile because he gets that ultimate and then he applies all of these juicy debuffs right here. So having that on turn 1 is huge. Alright, so next we have androids. First off, I want to apologize for not putting Legends Limited Super 17 in the backup characters list. But as for your boost units, you do have the blue cell, has a stun on turn 3. Or well, it's at the end of turn 2, so it kind of rolls over into turn 3, right? So it has the buff against androids and Saiyans, should have him 14 stars, max out at Zenkai 7, and then you also have the Android 14 right here. This guy gets a lot of benefits from simply just having android allies. He only gets a damage cut if he has the android allies, which we're on Android's team, so he's going to be okay here. MVP 17, phenomenal support right here. Core units of this cell, who is going to be buffing the max base HP as well as providing heals for your ally tag androids. And then of course you have the other core unit up here. This is a pseudo healer for your androids, healing a max percentage of 2% for allies in range right there. You have support right here from the red 21. You have support from this guy, and you have support from MVP. So things should also, another thing I can mention is that the green 21 has a stun as well. I believe it's like at turn 2, so a little bit earlier than the blue cell, right? All right, so next we got Saiyans right here. So Saiyans, you have so many replacement options. It's actually crazy. Surprisingly, you don't have that many boost replacement options though. As you can see, it's a little bit more so on the weaker side right here. This is the strike variation. For boost units, you do have this Broly. He does have the damage because it's pretty much all you want from that guy. And then you have this guy in S tier. This guy's actually pretty good. He has substantial healing. Like, he restores health by 7% 2 times after getting hit. Like, that's pretty nuts, right? I mean, it's strong. It's really strong. It's not the most broken thing, but it's strong. Plus, he does have damage cut. So damage cut plus healing, like, he's gonna live. And then as for your core unit, you had this Goku right here. He's going to be healing to the left and to the right of him. He is not one of your boost units. He's been demoted to A tier, remember. Kid Goku, supering every other fight. This guy supering every fight, turn 2. This guy guaranteed stun. And then 2 tag units. Tag units are just great. Very valuable. Alright, so for the next team, it's going to be Saiyans again, but it's going to be the blast-based version. You have options here, a lot of good options. You have, honestly, I think the worst part about this team is just not having a lot of blue options, right? Because for someone like me, I don't have the Boo Duo. So, I mean, I could put the free-to-play Broly on there. I could put the Spirit Bomb Kid Goku on there because he kind of swings both ways in terms of stats. Obviously, I wouldn't want to replace a Boo Duo unit with one of the boost units because they're not going to be as strong or as impactful. If I had the Ultra UI Goku, I probably would put him here instead of the Super Saiyan God Kaioken, because the UI Goku, I'm pretty sure he gets like guaranteed double attack, whereas this guy, he gets a 30% chance to double attack. But anyways, boost units are going to be the Fasha. She does have a stun upon landing her Blast Arts attack. She heals herself as well. And then you have this Vegeta over here having blast-based debuffs for the enemy team. Is going to help out with your blast damage. You have Kaba, who is going to be buffing to the left and right, either rival universe or Vegeta characters. So you do want him to basically be the pocket for Vegeta characters. Like if you do something like this or even like this, he's going to be buffing both of these Vegetas right here. He's like a battery for them. And then Raditz, guaranteed super attack, turn 1. He does have a low key resource speed, so he's going to be attacking last. So if you do run this team, just keep that in mind. You probably are going to, if you want to land this on a yellow unit, probably time it so that Raditz hits him at the end of turn 1. And then Goku stays on here for the heals. UI Goku has mitigation as well because he has the dodge mechanic. Alright, so next we have hybrids. So this is going to be the strike variation of hybrids right here. So boost options, you have a nice little selection right here from units to choose from. For for the boost units that we chose right here is going to be this Kid Gohan. It has the damage cut, right? You just want him to live. And then this Trunks right here. Both of these guys need to be 14 stars. This guy also has damage cut, can be very squishy, so you do want to save them for the second half of the board. Because you start bringing them out in every fight on the first half, they're probably going to die, to be honest with you. Core units, we have the Pan, buffing the max base HP for Hybrid Saiyans. And then you also have this Bola right here, providing a lot of support and acting as a pseudo healer for all allies in range, getting 4% total, right? So 2% at the end of turn, 2 times. And then you have Beast Gohan here, who's absolutely phenomenal in terms of damage output. This other Beast Gohan, who's a little bit of a slow starter, but still good nonetheless. This guy has been, you want him at 14 stars, though he's a very old unit, but he's still really solid. For this guy, we have the Buff Trunks listed up there from the Boujack movie, but you can also run this Ultra Gohan. You can just switch him over to Strike. This guy, he has pretty even stats, if I'm being real honest with you. 267 versus the 268, plus he's getting that guaranteed super attack as long as he activates his counter, right? So once he receives a Strike Guard's attack, he basically doesn't take any damage, and he gets 100% to his special move gauge, which is pretty damn good. Alright, so next is going to be hybrids once again, but it's going to be the blast version. So just a couple modifications right here, right? So in terms of boost units, Kid Gohan stays here. And then you put on the blue Super Saiyan 2 Gohan right here. This guy heavily favors blast attack. He does have, he'll heal your allies if he dies. You don't want him to die. Just complete discretion there. Don't let him die. But both of those guys are Z tier, so you only need the 2 of them for your boost units. Core units, you do have the Pan, going to be buffing the base HP of your hybrids right here. Gotenks is on here for the board-wide support. You do want to go ahead, this is the Blast version, so you want to be swapping these guys over to Blast. Beast Gohan, he's phenomenal, and he can swing both ways because he has really even stats right here. Ultra Gohan, I prefer him over the the Revival Gohan, but obviously the Revival Gohan is going to be a lot more friendlier for the average player. Again, this guy does get a guaranteed super attack after mitigating a Strike Arts. You have the Ultimate Gohan on here as well, and then I do have the tag unit, but a budget tag unit, right? Since I do not have the Vegeta Trunks, I probably would be more hesitant to run this team without that Vegeta Trunks, because that guy has been a staple on the Hybrids Blast team for a very long time. Alright, so let's take a look at some of these new units right here. So let's show them at the ToP stats, the max stats right here. Key resource speed at 2,400, not bad. Could get a little bit higher. I have him at friendship rank 5 already, but definitely can increase with the friendship rank 10. has the regular just blue card available to him, and his first ability gets 70% to damage inflicted, 15% to damage cut, and at the start of the battle per enemy Super Saiyan, your allies get 2% to damage inflicted. I mean, I guess that'd be good if you're just going against Super Saiyans all day long on the board, so I can see some value in that. And then at the start of turn, according to number of allies remaining, 6 allies, 25% to strike damage inflicted, and 20% to key recovery for 1 turn. Oh, so he's going to be fast, right? 5 allies, 15% to strike damage, and 15% to key recovery. Oh, so he's actually getting the most value from having all allies alive, which is something you don't see all the time, honestly. The less allies he has, the less impactful this ability is going to be. And then his second ability, on strike or blast arts attack, he restores his own health by 1%, activates 2 times for a total of 2%, which is... it's nice. It's not the most impactful, but nice. So this one's definitely situational. When I first read this, I thought it was guaranteed, but it's like at the start of turn 3, enemies have to, or less, have to be remaining, right? So I mean, unless you're just sweeping the entire enemy team, I feel like this pretty much you're going to be getting this a lot. There might be a few times where you don't activate this ability, but it doesn't seem too hard to like unreachable, you know what I mean? And so the last unit we're going to take a look at here is going to be the Tapion, since he just got his zenkai. Let's take a look at his ToP stats. His key restore speed is really nice. I probably should have added him to the graphic low-key, depending on how good this is going to be. He has the blue card available to him. He does, so his first ability, 50% to damage inflicted, 5% to damage cut. That's a low damage cut. And start a turn according to number of allies remaining, 6 allies, 30% to strike damage, 40% for 5 allies, and then 50% for 4 allies. So that's low-key kind of bad. I don't like those abilities where it's like the less allies you have, the more strength you're going to pull out from this unit, especially for a game mode like ToP. You're trying to not have any of your allies die. At the start of turn, if there's an allied character Trunks remaining, you get 15% to damage cut for 1 turn, and then 20% to damage inflicted by allied Trunks character for 1 turn. So he would actually be a huge pocket for Trunks, honestly. And at the start of the second turn, he has that green card. He had this before too. It's only for 1 enemy that he applies these debuffs. 100% to, or minus 100% to a special move gauge. Inflicts attribute downgrade, minus 25% to damage inflicted for 2 turns. 15% to damage received for 2 turns. And then minus 10% to key recovery for 2 turns. And after receiving an attack, own health is 50% or below. You restore your own health by 2%, activates once, 30% to a special move gauge, activates once, and 10% to damage inflicted by allies, activates once. On special move arts hit, inflicts enemy with heavy bleed for 1 turn. So, I mean, he's alright. He's definitely not the worst. I think he's going to have value just because of the fact that he has the Zenkai stats now. Alright, so that's pretty much the entire video right there. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys enjoy the content, make sure you guys leave a like, a comment, and maybe even consider hitting that subscribe button. And I'll catch you guys in the walkthrough video. Later!